We're going to start now. We're going to do our roller sets. There's 4 basic types of rollers that I want you to be able to do to know how the placement of the rollers go on. We're all going to be using the same type of roller, and that's a magnetic roller, and you should all have your magnetic roller set. And so these are what these are, is the magnetic rollers. So we're all going to start with these, and your mannequin should be wet and combed through. Comb through nicely. Remember, with your pick. At this part, I would suggest that this would be a really bad thing to do, is to go through here with this brush. This brush is not meant to go on the hair when it's wet. It pulls the hair in too many directions and stretches it in so many different parts that you're going to cause some excess damage on the hair that you do not want with the hair. So whenever you're working with wet hair, this brush does not belong. Okay, so if you've got this and you're working with this with wet hair, please put this brush back. It doesn't belong with this one. We're mainly in the wet hair going to be working with the pick to comb through it to get the knots through, and then we can go into our tail comb or our all-purpose comb. For now, we're going to deal just strictly with our tail comb. Okay, you've got your magnetic rollers. I'm going to suggest first that you probably use the biggest rollers that you have. Save yourself some time and some energy and use the largest ones, and I'll show you why that's going to happen. We're just going to deal with 4 different types of rollers. I'm going to put 3 rollers here and 1 here. They're not going to be any style at all. They're simply going to be showing you how to get different volumes from the same roller. From on top in here, and again, when we're taking our roller, we just want to take this roller so that we have it exactly the right width. So I don't want it any wider than the roller. Okay, so I'm just going to take this, and the same parting techniques you used before. You're taking your comb, you're not lifting it from the scalp, separating the hair, what's on one side of the comb from the other. That should give you a very clean line, and that line should extend for both sides. Same thing, you do not want the hair to come out past the roller. It will end up falling off the ends of it. So don't lift that tail comb off the scalp, and just come up, and you've got both sides of it. Combing down the one side, and that should give you a fairly nice clean edge in here. If you're having trouble with that, go back and just do the parting techniques again, because that is really important, and it is key to all of your hair techniques to be able to part the hair well. So now when I'm in here, I want to make sure I've got it the right length there. So I want to make sure that it's no wider than this roller as well. So I just sit it upright like this just to make sure that I've got it. And I drag the comb along the scalp, never lifting it from the scalp. And I should have, if I take the hair from the one side of the comb, pull back the other ones. Oh, you can see where I probably did lift the comb a little bit here because the line is not perfect. And we can just go back in and fix that and just drag the comb along the scalp, not lifting it. And then taking the hair from the one side and bringing it over. Okay, so you should have a very nice clean section here. Now remember, I'm getting a little bit of tangles in here, so I have to go back out to the ends and comb out the ends of it here. Now remember, this is the base. This rectangular panel right here is the base. That's what we refer to when we're referring to is this on base, half off base, or off base. We're talking about when I'm finished, does the roller sit entirely on top of that base? Or does it sit half on top of the base? Or does it sit completely off of the base? So that's where we're going. On base is going to be the most volume, half off is going to be medium volume, and completely off is going to be the lowest volume for this roller type. So make sure when you're in there, you are combing very smooth on the scalp. That's going to be important for any of your combing techniques. You want that clean right from the scalp all the way to the ends. Holding this one at a 45-degree angle. Putting the hair around the roller. Oh, I seem to have, I don't know what that hair is doing. Doesn't want to behave there. We'll just hold it down as we roll. And I'm pulling up as I'm rolling down just to give that tension. And then one roller. Centered right at the base of it. just one roller, and you can see this roller sits nicely on top of the base. You never want to see clips coming up here. If you do, when the hair dries, it's going to leave a big line in the hair, and it's not going to be good. Ask yourself, if you feel like you need to use 2 clips or more up here, is there something you did wrong before that? Did you take too much hair that it seems to be falling off the roller? Did you maybe not wrap it with enough tension that it feels like it's going to fall off? You need to roll this nice and tight tension all the way to the bottom, and 1 clip is all you need. Okay, so that's our on-base roller sitting exactly on the base. So we're going to do the same thing. I need the same section. I'm going to use another one of the larger red rollers. The same thing, I want it the same width, and I don't want it, the length and width need to be the same, otherwise I'll have too much hair on the roller. This one is going to be called, this one is called the half-off roller. It's half-off base because when I roll this hair, it is going to come and be half off this base. It's going to sit half on top of it and half off. Oh, I seem to have a little piece of hair in there that doesn't want to go up. When you're rolling half off base, the on base roller needed to be held at 45 degrees. You can see that this angle was 45 degrees. Now that was for your on base. Now your half off is going to be going straight up from the head. We'll talk a little bit about being straight up from the head or at a 90-degree angle from the head when we get to different parts of the head for this. Again, same concept. You need to be combing that hair very smooth. Your comb is touching right on the scalp and you're going all the way up, sliding your fingers along with it. You can set your comb down and grab your roller. At this point, I think I've started to move my angle a little more like on base, so I'm just going to recomb that one more time so that it's straight up. Then I'm going to put my magnetic roller down. I can hold it with my one hand. I'm holding the hair and the roller because my thumb is on the inside of that roller. If the hair is wet enough, it is just going to simply stick to this roller. If some of your hair has fallen down, not a big deal, you can pick it back up and put it on. But you need to have it spread out from end to end. You're not pinching this together. Again, as I roll down, I'm pulling up with a fair amount of tension as I roll down. And the pulling up is going to give me the nice smoothness that I want for this roller. And again, it's the same rule applies here. When you pin this, you are going to pin it right in the center of this roller. So you're going to take your clip, 1 clip only, and right in the center of the roller. And these should be fairly secure. So have a look. This roller here is sitting on the base, and now you can see that my base for this roller was from here to here, but my roller is really only sitting half on top of it. It's not covering the entire base, it's only covering half of it. So that's half off. This is going to be for a medium amount of volume. This would be very full hairstyle if you did this all over. This one is going to be a little less volume here in a half off. So let's do the third one here, and we're calling this one is off base. And again, if this one sat on the base, and if this one sat half off the base, the off base is going to sit off the base. So let's go in there and make sure I've got the right size section. I want to make sure I've got the right size base in there. It's a little bit difficult when you're doing these ones because you see the half off base is covering part of the base for my off base one here. But that's not too much of a problem. We just want to make sure we're still combing nice and smooth right from the roots to the ends. And you could slide your fingers around. Now if I held the on base one at 45 degrees, the half off base at 90 degrees, now I'm going to hold the off base one at 180 degrees. Okay? And this is going to give me a very flat roller, the least amount of volume I could get with this roller. If you're finding the hair is getting a little bit too dry at this point, perhaps that's where mine is getting, just take that section of hair. You could mist the entire mannequin if you like. Just take that section of hair, give it a little mist with water, and try again. Same concept, I can still hold on to that. The hair will be entirely around that roller. Nice tension, I'm pulling back as I'm rolling forward. And then as you can see, this one sits, just like the name suggests, entirely off the base. The base is up in here and the roller is sitting off. This part of the curl is called the stem, and so you can see the stem has been exaggerated to go off the base. Where we have a really short stem, you can't even really see what's happening in here with the stem because the roller is entirely on the base. Here we are, half off and then off. So again, the most volume, medium volume, and the least amount of volume. Now let's do another one. I'm going to have to move my roller onto the side to show you an indentation because this half off, or this off base roller, is going to be in my way. So I'm going to come off to the side of the hair, and I'm going to take the same size section. I'm going to make sure that it's no longer than my roller. It has to come to here. And that it's no fatter than my roller. At the hairline, it gets a little bit more difficult with the base size because you can see the hairline does have a bit of a curve pattern to it, so it's not a nice straight line in there. So you will have perhaps a little bit more trouble in here. Now what I'm going to do is an indentation roller. Really, all of these ones, I would have said these were curled under. This one, we'll call it an indentation. Probably if you said this was the roller that's flipped up, that's probably more accurate. But if we're going to be talking about the proper terms here, this one is the indentation roller. And this one is going to be very flat at the roots, but then it's going to flip up. So comb the hair nice and smooth, follow with your fingers of the other hand just to make sure it's staying smooth. The difference here is with all the other rollers, I put the roller underneath the hair. Now with the indentation, the roller goes on top of the hair. And so I'm holding this at a very low elevation. And if this is wet enough, this should all stick onto the roller, okay? And then as we have this onto the roller, I roll up and I'm still pulling away from that base as I roll up. If at any time you have some hairs that pop up and you've wetted and it's still doing that, you can just tuck them in with your tail comb. It's one of the nice things about the tail comb, and if you just tuck it in, you'll make sure it goes all the way around nicely. And all the way to the top for the indentation, and then the roller is going to clip. So this one you should see still only one roller, but this one, if I let this out once it dried, it's going to be going up. And it will be very flat at the root, versus these ones are all going under. So what I want you to do at this stage, this is where you need to stop at this stage, and you need to practice this on your mannequin. Just these 4 roller placements in there. Take your mannequin, it might take you a few times to try it out. Take a picture in the end from all the angles so that we can have a look and give you some feedback and so that you can self-reflect on it yourself.